more than nothing, right? So look at your goals and see, how you're going to reevaluate and how you're going to pivot and change. It kind of reminds me of a show I used to watch, actually. It's called America's Game, which I don't know if they even still do this, but it used to be a documentary about the Super Bowl champions and the success and adversity that they went through to become that champion. My favorite episodes were actually the ones called The Missing Rings, which were about these great teams that didn't win, right? Whether through, they were actually made it to the Super Bowl and just lost, or for whatever circumstance, right? These great teams didn't win the championship. So there's this one team that they discussed with the 90s Bills. And if anyone knows about, the NFL, the Bills in the late 80s to the mid-90s were probably one of the most dominant teams in NFL history, right? They're actually the only team to ever go to 4 straight Super Bowls. Unfortunately, they're also the only team to lose 4 straight Super Bowls, which is where if you're a sports fan, you kind of fall back on, they lost 4 straight. Well, they're also the only ones to go to 4 straight. So they were a very accomplished team. And so in the documentary, they talk about the first year, right, that they made it to the Super Bowl and lost. And the coach, Marv Levy, discussed how he felt about the loss and how he remembered a poem and how it kind of summarized their season, but how they needed to approach the next season, kind of laid to bed the previous 1990 season and how what they needed to focus on in 1991. So the poem is about a Scottish warrior, and the poem goes, "Fight on, my men. A little I'm hurt, but not yet slain. I'll just lie down and bleed a while, and then I'll rise and fight again." I love that poem, right? That's beautiful. It's poetic. I think it really needs to summarize how we need to approach our goals, but how we need to approach life. We're going to have moments where we're going to fail, right? We're going to have moments, if you're a Christian, right, you're going to have moments where you sin. You're going to have moments where you fall short of what we need to be and how God commanded us to act and behave and what we need to do, right? One, if you're a Christian, right, well, obviously a lot of people kind of also, they mess up and they kind of fall off the path. Well, ask for forgiveness, right? God's going to forgive you, and you just step back on the path and try again. If you're not a Christian and you're like, well, hey, this was not supposed to be that big of a sermon podcast. Well, I'm sorry. Like I said, this is how I see my life. So forgiveness is a key part of my life and how I function with my goals and how I function just day to day. So we got to ask for forgiveness, but you also got to forgive yourself, right? Again, reevaluate your plan. Forgive yourself. Yep, I had too many Oreos on Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday. All right, well, now I got to cut out, and change what I need to do moving forward. So forgive yourself, move on, and try hard and put up some barriers on not repeating those same mistakes. Lick your wounds, right? Like the poem said, I'm hurt, but I'm not slain, right? I'm going to bleed a while, but I'm going to rise again. So the same thing, right? Bleed, lick your wounds, lay there for a second, but get back up and keep pursuing your goals. Get back up and keep pursuing God. Just get back up in life and keep moving on and keep moving. Just keep going. So when pursuing your goals, just remember, you're not slain. Get back up on that horse and you'll be good. So the next one, we have say no, learn to say no, have the Mamba mentality, and get back up on the horse. And another one is we need to have some positive coping skills, which I guess is not directly related to mental toughness, but I think it helps with the burden of really just falling and making mistakes, right? So I think one key element of having mental toughness is getting through obstacles and getting through those situations. But I think another thing that we can have at least success with approaching our goals is to have some positive coping skills to deal with those obstacles as well once they come up, right? So that can be an element of mental toughness is really just being prepared for those obstacles. So one, really any list that you're going to see somehow, whether it's losing weight, whether it's recovering from, high intense exercise, or whatever you're trying to do, right? Sleep is somehow always on the list. I don't care. Try me, right? Go out and Google how to do whatever, and somehow sleep is on there. So it's extremely crucial for our success, right? In fact, sleep, if you're trying to lose weight, sleep can help with hunger and help with some cravings, right? The less sleep you get, or if you're feeling tired, you're actually going to crave more sugary items. And you're just gonna be hungry, right? And especially for me, like if I'm craving sugar, game over. But then you also, it can help with recovery. It can just help with your mood. It can help with your emotions. It can help how you process information, and just help you at work, right? Sleep is extremely crucial. So try to get your 7 to 9 hours. Sometimes there's some people who function perfectly at 5. Some people, like my wife, function perfectly at 12. Get whatever it is your number is, right? Make sure you get it. That way it can help with just feeling better, help with your relationships, help with how you achieve your goals. Which kind of piggyback off that, talk about like sleep with a hunger, right? Have a well-balanced diet. So if you get your sleep, also have that well-balanced diet. I think they say well-balanced diet, and I liked how they put that, right? Because if it's not saying cut out Oreos forever, but just have a plan for that. If you're gonna have like an Oreo, have a couple Oreos, that's fine, but don't eat the entire pack like I would. And then if you're gonna have a cheat meal, right, have it once a week, or have it at one meal once a week. Don't have an entire day or have an entire week of just cheating, right? Have your moments, but have a well-balanced diet throughout the rest of the week. Also mentions exercise is a good coping skill. I think that really helps you burn out some stress, has a really good positive outlet for you. So I like running. That's one thing I do. Another element that I do with a lot of stuff is I try to add God into each thing that I do. So exercise for me is also an act of worship where I'm listening to a sermon or listening to a Christian audiobook. So I highly recommend, for Christians out there to add God into exercise. And then that way it's just an act of worship, and it's another way to connect to God and hear God and how you need to improve and change in other ways. Also, spiritually, right, we need to rest, and I think that's another great coping skill as well that a lot of us need to learn, and I'm guilty of this. I'm one that I try to go full throttle every single day of my life. So we got to learn to rest. I think not only like one day a week, right, like have your Sabbath day, like have your Sunday, just relax. I think we also need to have our moments throughout the day to relax as well and find that moment to not be burnt out, because like if we get to the end of the day, especially if you have kids or spouse or loved ones, right, you kind of tend to take out the stresses of the day on them. So I think in order to prevent that a little bit, again, you got to find some rest throughout the day. Also with the Sabbath part, I want to just note this: try to work hard Monday through Saturday, whether you're school, whether you're working out, right? Put in the grind, put in the hours Monday through Saturday. You can lose weight. You could be physically fit. You can do, earn money. You can do all of that stuff. But on Sunday, relax, enjoy time with God, or enjoy time with your family, or both, right? Just find a day to keep the Sabbath holy. Also, have fun. That's the other thing is shoot your bow, go play basketball, do some yoga, whatever it is that you like doing. Have some fun. I think so many of our lives are filled like, well, I think I had this one vacation, 6 months ago, or I had this one day off, a certain amount of time ago. Like I think we just kind of keep putting the fun stuff off. Find whatever it is, your hobby that you're interested in, and do it. Like I just mentioned, I shoot bow. I like basketball. I like, going fishing. I like kayaking with my cousins or canoeing, whatever we're doing, right? I enjoy having fun and doing those things, hunting and stuff. So find your thing and do it. I mean, another, element is that I love spending time with family. Again, know your love languages. That's another thing. So for me, spending quality time with my family is something that helps me have fun, helps with stress, it helps with relaxation, right? So just find what you have fun with and just do it. Also, you got to meditate. I think that's another element that we need to add throughout our day is meditation, whether that's getting quiet and sitting in a room for a certain period of time and just being silent, whether that's doing yoga, whether that's in martial arts or prayer, or if you do Wim Hof's breathing stuff, right? Whatever you're doing, just find some time to meditate. I personally, I like reading a lot of books, specifically listening to a lot of books, but also reading the Bible. So I always like to start my day off with meditation, prayer, and then I read God's Word. I get into the Bible, get into some devotions. I'm also rehydrating at that same time, so I'm kind of drinking a bunch of water. I'm kind of I like the idea of like I'm rehydrating my body. I'm rehydrating my soul, rehydrating my mind, because then I'll listen to sermons afterwards. So it's kind of like a renewing of my whole body and my whole like spirit each morning. Then I do stretches, and then I go on an exercise, right? Then you with work, right? Like you just kind of put God in everything. And I end up being like less stressed throughout the day, and I'm able to kind of even meditate even in the midst of moments of stress, right? It's kind of one of those like, no, you're fine. You're able to kind of like talk yourself through it. So another one, the last tip it gives about coping mechanisms or coping skills is avoiding caffeine, which I'm not gonna lie, I fail at that. In fact, I probably drink a concerning amount of caffeine. So you could avoid caffeine, avoid alcohol. I unfortunately drink a lot of caffeine. So I'm not really the one to say don't drink caffeine, because I drink a lot of double caffeine coffee. So another tip that they say on getting mentally tougher is taking inventory. I think take inventory of our successes and losses. Like go back through and look at the film that we have in our head, right, of some of our successes and losses, and play back how did you succeed, one, and what were the emotions that you have with success, what did you do with success, right? Also, same thing, what did you do with losses, right? What led up to the losses? What did you do after the losses? What emotions did you have? Like, I think we need to take a complete inventory of how we act and behave with victories and losses. For me, I knew I was an overeater with victory, and I was a stress eater with losses. So for me, there's moments in life where you're working on a project or trying to study for a test. Well, I would be stress eating leading up to that stuff, and then project is a success, and implementation of the project is a success, or I passed the test, right? And then now I'm reward eating. So I knew I had to really watch on removing certain cheat items because I would stress reward eat. I knew there's busy seasons in my life. I sell insurance, right? So for me, open enrollment in October, November is a very busy time. And especially when I was in school and open enrollment, still trying to lose weight, those were very stressful. So I had to really avoid on snacking and cheating in those areas. So just make sure you're taking full inventory of how you behave in certain situations, and use that knowledge to take advantage of your weaknesses, right? If you know, hey, I'm a stress eater, all right, so in stressful times, okay, I'm going to have to eat, make sure I have either a healthy snack for stress eating, or just not stress, put barriers in place that are going to help you overcome that temptation. So kind of combining everything into one, right? We got to learn to say no. We got to have that relentless pursuit of the goal. I think saying no is going to help us with that relentless pursuit. Saying no is going to help us kind of get back on the horse. We also need to have some positive coping skills to help with the barriers that we're going to run into. And also that is going to build us a platform success, kind of what I mentioned with Cam Hanes, right? Where he runs and does strength training to help be the best hunter. Well, same thing, right? Having good rest and sleep and exercise can help with some of the goals and just kind of build us a platform for future success. So positive coping skills, and also just taking inventory of how we behave, taking inventory of our emotions, taking inventory of our past, right? There's emotions that are going to come up during your weight loss or your goals, right? They're gonna surprise you. And I think you need to take inventory of where those emotions are coming from and how you can kind of overcome those or use those to help you grow and not shrink and fail. So combine everything into one. I think we're going to be a lot mentally tougher. Again, I'm not a mental, Spartan by any standards. Like the David Goggins, Cam Hanes, the professional athletes. They have a lot of elements of mental toughness. But I think we just to develop that, we just got to learn to say no. I think we can also take a little bit from what all those mental Spartans do. And we got to, stay hard, right? David Goggins says it all the time. We got to stay hard. I think first we got to get hard. We got to get to that part where we can say no when we're going to be at least maybe not mental Spartans, but maybe we're mental baby Spartans where we're at least saying no to some things and on that path. Cameron Hanes, some of his stuff that he, slogans or some of his mottos that he has that are keep hammering, right? Regardless of what it is, keep working hard at it, keep hammering. His other favorite, the one I actually love, and actually I'm wearing the t-shirt right now, is nobody cares, work harder, right? So I think some people care, but the whole point is whatever your excuse, whatever your background, whatever your situation, you got to work harder at it. You're going to have to work hard to get to the goal. I wasn't born on third base, so you got to work if you're wanting to have a be debt free, or if you're wanting to have a certain income, you're gonna have to work hard. You're gonna have to go back to school. You're gonna have to put in the hours. You want to lose weight, you're gonna have to grind. You're gonna have to sweat. You're gonna have the blood, sweat,